A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another graphic novel review, so cheers. Today we are starting a series on probably one of the greatest Batman crossover events to ever have happened. This is really the first one from the kind of 90s onwards modern era of Batman. And I am talking, of course, about Batman Knightfall. This is where, for those of you that don't know, although after watching Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises, this is where Bane breaks Batman's back. This was, pardon me, this was a spectacular event spanning, it went for like 2 fucking years, over 100 issues. Naturally, I did not read all of them, only some of them here and there. I was more of an X-Men fan back in the 90s, although I did pick up the pivotal 90s books like The Death of Superman and of course, the Batman, where Batman gets his back broken and that kind of thing. But in this series, I'm going to bring you the complete fucking story over 100 issues. Starting with Batman Knightfall Volume 1. This is a chunky monkey. I will be reviewing the first 14 issues in this book. But once that is done, I will move on to Night Quest, another chunky monkey, followed by Night's End, the complete Batman Knightfall saga. Now, I am going to be 100% honest with all of you. I haven't read after Batman gets his back broken. In fact, Knightfall issue 12 last night was the first time I'd ever read that issue. So this is new to me. I kind of know what happens just from pop culture and shit like that, but I'm going to be experiencing this around the same time that I bring it to you, so you can get my feedback, my reactions, things like that. Suffice it to say, so far, the first 12 issues of Knightfall plus Vengeance of Bane and the Batman tie-in, phenomenal. Such a fun story. Such great characters. I'm looking forward to when they bring other members of the Bat family into this. At the moment, it's pretty much Robin, Alfred, John Paul Valley, and I believe there was a Huntress cameo. But yeah, so you know what? Let's just get right into the next episode of...
Read a fucking book. 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 People.
So this is volume 1 of Batman Knightfall. This fantastic cover showing Bane and Batman, that pivotal moment in the storyline. Now this is a very chunky volume, and you might hear some noise in the background, just doing the laundry, of course. But we are only going to cover the first 12 issues of the story, as well as the Vengeance of Bane kind of 64-page one-shot. Okay, so we start with Batman Vengeance of Bane. Fantastic cover art there. And this basically sets up the story of Bane, his kind of backstory. So we get this kind of failed coup in the Republic of Santa Prisca, where the rebels are subsequently captured and jailed. Some of them are killed. And you can see they're torturing the rebels. So Bane's father is ultimately killed. His mother is pregnant. And under Santa Prisca law, the father's crimes can be, the son can take the punishment for them. So the court waits to see if Bane's mother gives birth to a boy or a girl. Unfortunately, it is a boy in the prison, and so they are put in kind of protective custody. This janitor fellow is narrating this whole thing. So the little boy grows up in the prison, and as he grows up, his mother slowly kind of gets weaker and weaker. The little child kind of explores the prison, gets his first view of like prisoners killing each other, and ultimately his mother passes away. She's not given a Christian funeral. Her body is thrown to the sharks. And the warden of the prison basically tells the boy, your mother isn't there to protect you anymore, and we're not running a school, we're not running anything like that, and the kid is put in general population. That night, the person in the cell next to him kind of makes him an offer. You're going to need protection in here, and I'm the one that can do it. This kid is really scared. And the next day, he comes out of the cell, and the guy in the cell next to him confronts him, and he, in turn, is confronted by Trog. They get into a fight, and during the fight, the boy is accidentally knocked over the railing and lands on the bottom floor, where he falls into a coma, and while he is in that coma, he sees his father, and his father talks to him and basically says, you have to not be scared of anything. You have to basically rise above your fears. You have to be completely fearless. 3 months later, he comes out of the coma and he is changed. He goes back to his cell. He sees the guy that was in the cell next to him and basically kills him like an animal. The warden sees what's happened and decides to put him in solitary confinement. He basically wants to get rid of this kid, so they put him in the hole, and they're like, he can fucking die in there. We don't care. So he's put in this kind of oubliette, this dungeon, where there are rats and everything, and in order to survive, he kills and eats the rats. Each night, because this prison is basically a reformed monastery, and this area was built under sea level, so each night when the tide rises, it floods, and he basically survives by hanging onto the bars. He goes down, he grabs fish, and so on and so forth, and trains his body, trains his patience, basically learns on his own. He meditates on his own to kind of get more powerful in his mind and more powerful in his body. And all the while, he keeps seeing this bat figure, which he kind of takes that as a sign. He sees this bird one day, and the bird has kind of a message for him. It's like written picture with the bird. He doesn't quite know what it means, but he's ultimately taken out, many years later, he's taken out of this solitary confinement, dragged back to the prison, and he's now like a fucking hero to these people. And this is where he meets Bird, who is an American from Gotham, who is in this prison. And Bird basically befriends him and teaches him how to read and whatnot. If as kind of a payment, Bane kind of takes Bird under his wing. Hold on, that's the end of the laundry. Beautiful little song there. And while other inmates are getting contraband smuggled into the prison, Bane is getting books. Bane is kind of training his mind. He becomes like the peak of physical excellence. And while other people try to take over his position in the prison, they all fail. He ultimately decides to hatch an escape plan. This is after he finds out that Gotham City, where Bird is from, is ruled by the Batman. And he had that bat thing happening earlier. So the warden watches him kind of control the prison. And the warden's thinking, you know what? It's okay if the prisoners kill each other. But it ultimately gets to be too much. At the same time, the doctor from the prison is doing tests with this new drug called Venom, which is supposed to kind of enhance people, but everyone keeps dying. So the warden is like, you know what? I've got the perfect candidate for you. And they get Bane and they kind of hook him up to all of this stuff. But this is part of Bane's plan to escape. He manages to lower his vital signs so much that they think he's dead. So they take his body back to where they threw his mother, which is a shark-infested ocean, and they toss him in. He ultimately basically rips the shark apart so the other sharks are attracted to the blood, and then he swims back to the island. This was his plan all along. He wasn't going to escape. He was going back to liberate. He gets back to the island. They capture the warden. He now has these three followers, Trog, Bird, and this guy called Zombie. They take the warden as a hostage, and as they're flying off to Gotham, Bane throws the warden into the shark-infested waters. Once they arrive in Gotham, Bird wants to go and get vengeance for the people that ripped him off in the past, these mobsters. Zombie and Trog design this new helmet for Bane where they can pump venom directly into his system. And then they go and confront these mobsters. So we have Zombie, Bird, and Trog just here. The mobsters think it's all a big fucking joke, but it isn't. And when the cops find these mobsters, they've all been slaughtered. Batman goes to the scene of the crime and talks to Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon, Bullock and Montoya, who are, let's get back, Harvey Bullock and Renee Montoya, think this is like a crime hit, and Batman kind of thinks otherwise. In the meantime, Bane is observing Batman. This was Bane's plan all along, is to observe Batman, find his weaknesses, and then take him down. They find another gang where Batman wants to check out these guys, whether or not they had anything to do with it. He gets into a fight with these guys, and Bane watches the whole thing, ultimately confronting Batman, realizing that Batman's weakness is he doesn't kill people. Bullock and Montoya and the cops arrive, and they find these dead gangsters, and they don't think that Batman had anything to do with their deaths because that's not Batman's style. But Bane now has a plan, and he kind of realizes what he needs to do to break the Bats. And that is the end of The Vengeance of Bane, with a question mark. Is it the end? Well, clearly from the size of this book, it is not. And this moves us into Batman, issue 491. So we have some soldiers here, and there's something making a noise. We see Trog here. And they discover that it is a robot. And the robot, which looks really 90s-esque, looks like Metal Mickey, actually, comes in and blows open the door, and Bane and the others go in. We find out this is a military station and they are stealing weapons. Commissioner Gordon, Bullock and Montoya are kind of discussing what's going on and what they're going to do about it. In the meantime, Bane and his crew are looking at plans of Arkham Asylum. We have Jeremiah Arkham kind of sitting here writing in his diary. And then we cut to Robin giving John Paul Valley a haircut. Now, who the hell is John Paul Valley? Well, John Paul Valley is the hero known as Azrael. I don't really know a lot about this character. Didn't really follow him in the Batman comics, but as far as I can tell, he's from this ancient society, and he's kind of like a warrior monk sort of guy. So we cut to the bad guys, the Bane crew, checking out Arkham. They send Birdie up over the facility with a bomb. The plan is to basically break out the worst inmate first, and of course that inmate is the Joker. The Joker manages to get to surprise the guards, and in the meantime Bane blows open the wall and more of the inmates start to escape. Joker confronts Jeremiah Arkham and basically captures him. At this point, all of the weapons that they liberated from the military base are dropped out of a helicopter into the asylum where the inmates get their hands on them. So we now have a mass breakout. Batman hears about this, goes off to investigate, and Robin and John Paul find out what's going on. The Joker has set Jeremiah Arkham up in this death trap. Bane watches as Batman appears, and the inmates are just absolutely going berserk now. The mayor calls Commissioner Gordon in and is like, you better get this shit under control or you're fucking fired, dude. Batman goes in, rescues some of the guards, ultimately is about to rescue Jeremiah Arkham. Bane and his crew unleash on the police that are there to let the inmates have a chance to escape. Batman manages to sever the trap, thereby saving Jeremiah Arkham's life. The inmates escape Gotham, and we're talking like all of Batman's villains here. All of the big bads are pretty much featured in this. And Commissioner Gordon is at his wit's end. Batman as well is freaking out. Now, at this point in the story, it's established that Batman is exhausted and he's suffering from a really bad case of the flu. So he's sick as well. And this was Bane's kind of plan all along to wear him down. We now get into Knightfall issue 1. I will be reviewing 12 issues of the Knightfall storyline. So let's get right into it. We see Jarvis Tetch, otherwise known as the Mad Hatter. Not an A-list Batman villain by any stretch of the imagination, but there was a run in the New 52 where he basically murders Bruce Wayne's girlfriend and Batman beats him nearly to death for doing it. I really love this character. I think he has a lot of potential, and I really like it when he's used like this. He's got a little monkey pal as well. So we can see all of the people that have escaped. You've got like Victor Zsasz, Joker, Poison Ivy, Film Freak, Killer Croc, Amygdala, Scarecrow. All of these guys, Ventriloquist, Two-Face. So Batman realizes that these villains are going to be basically going back to what they know best. So he keeps an eye out, or an ear out, I should say. And of course, the Mad Hatter with his monkey pal goes to a haberdasher, which is like a hat store, to steal some hats. He's being watched by Birdie with his falcon. Montoya and Harvey Bullock are debating, like, what is the point of all this? What was the point of freeing them? And maybe there wasn't a point to it. So they are kind of at a loss for words. Batman goes to the hat store and finds a clue left by Jervis Tetch. Not really a clue, it's an invitation, I should say. At the same time, we get this dude keeps going on TV. You're going to see this all through the Knightfall story, talking about how these people aren't really insane. It's us as society that's making them insane. I believe as well that, yeah, okay. There's a little monkey with all the hats. Batman and Robin head to the tea party, but I believe that yes, the Mad Hatter realizes that he is being surveilled, so he gets the monkey to capture the bird and puts a homing device on it. That's something I did not mention. So Bane is kind of sitting back and watching all this. Batman goes to this tea party where he discovers that the Mad Hatter has got a whole lot of bad guys and they're all under his control. However, knowing that the bird has a tracking device on it, he sends Film Freak to go and find out what is going on, why he's being watched. Now, Film Freak is a very obscure Batman villain. It's a Batman villain that I really didn't know a lot about. I had to do a little bit of research on him before I started this video. And he's a Batman villain that I'm so fucking pissed that I didn't read more of, because his whole thing is killing people in the same way that people are killed in the movies. Like, he stalks someone and murders them, similar to Norman Bates in Psycho and things like that, which is right up my fucking alley. Love to see more of this guy, or track down some of his major story arcs, if he even fucking has any. So Batman and Robin get to this party. Bird finds his tracking device, and Bane is like, you know what? Let me deal with it. Film Freak has tracked him down to where they are staying. Batman crashes the party while Bane gets ready to fight Film Freak. So now we get this amazing sequence of Batman fighting the Mad Hatter's lackeys and Bane fighting Film Freak. And it's this really great shadowed alley, and Bane just absolutely decimates Film Freak while Batman and Robin take out the Mad Hatter and most of his goons, ultimately resulting in Bane killing Film Freak, which they hear over the Mad Hatter's kind of hat thing. It almost works like a two-way radio. And Batman and Robin listen in and realize that Bane has in fact killed Film Freak. So they've taken two B-listers off the list, Mad Hatter and Film Freak. Okay, what a cover. So now we have Maxi Zeus. Maxi Zeus is another great Batman villain that not a lot of people are probably aware of. He's just this mob guy that thinks he's Zeus. He's got no powers or anything. He's just fucking nuts. And I love this character so very much. So he's free and he's going on about being Zeus, and then he just runs into a tree and knocks himself out. Then we get Amygdala here. Now, Amygdala is a very tragic character. He's an inmate that was basically lobotomized. So he's very childlike. And he befriends the ventriloquist. Now, the ventriloquist wants to find Scarface. Scarface is the main puppet gangster that the ventriloquist uses, but he can't. So he just has a sock that he calls Mr. Socko, and he and Amygdala kind of go off together and form this friendship. It's really quite nice. So Batman and Robin are still kind of looking around. They find Film Freak's body. The cops show up. And then we get this douchebag who has written a book, I'm Sane and So Are You. He used to be a former guard at Arkham. And he's basically blaming Gotham City for these people being crazy. Robin realizes they're being followed by a bird. It's a bird that's not native to Gotham City. Ventriloquist and Amygdala burst into this bar looking for Scarface, and they all laugh at Ventriloquist, and Amygdala's like, no one laughs at my friend, and then beats the shit out of everyone. So Batman and Robin are basically talking. Robin's trying to convince Batman that he needs to stop, he needs to slow down. But Batman hears over the radio about this break-in at Joybox Toys where Ventriloquist is looking for a new puppet with Amygdala. So they go there. Batman tells Robin, stay by the car. This, by the way, is the Tim Drake Robin. Dick Grayson has become Nightwing. Jason Todd was killed by the Joker, and Tim Drake is the third Robin. And then Damian Wayne will become the next Robin in the Grant Morrison run. But for now, it's Tim Drake, who is a fantastic Robin, don't get me wrong. Robin sees the bird again and decides to go after it. Batman tries to confront the ventriloquist, who is trying out different puppets. None of them are working. And then Amygdala comes and basically attacks. Robin confronts Bird, while Amygdala is beating the shit out of Batman, and Batman is fighting back, but he's in a weakened state. Robin and Bird get into a tussle. Bird ultimately gets the upper hand. Amygdala is about to kill Batman, and Batman manages to take him down by smacking him in the back of the neck. Bird wants to kill Robin. Bane tells him, don't. Just walk away. And Robin is kind of smarting from the hit. With Amygdala down, Batman just kind of leaves the ventriloquist. He's kind of out of it a bit. And he sees a note from Robin, gone bird hunting. That leads us into issue 3. We can see on the cover we are dealing with Mr. Zsasz. Mr. Zsasz was a villain that I first experienced in Shadow of the Bat issue 1. Victor Zsasz is a serial killer who, when he takes a life, he carves a line on his body. So you can see he's kind of got a whole lot of scars there. I mean, look at this guy. Just awesome. He's broken into a school for girls, and he's killed some people, and he's taken others hostage. The girls are frightened, but one of them is like, we can take this fucker. The cops are there, but they're not going in. So Batman is kind of hurrying to the scene. One of the girls is like, stop being pussies. We can all take him. He might kill one of us, but we can all ultimately overpower him. One of the cops agrees to go in, and he sneaks in through the window, and then he finds another cop that's had his throat slit, and then Victor Zsasz gets him and cuts another line on his body. Bane is kind of listening to all this via the radio and the TV, and they're like, we should go after Batman now. And Bane's like, no, he's not yet broken. We've got to wait till he's broken. Batman shows up, of course, sneaks in. They cut the electricity, and Batman and Zsasz get into a fight. But it's not Zsasz, it's Robin. Robin heard what was going on, and Batman's like, you've got to stop doing this. This isn't cool. So you think it's Victor Zsasz, but it's not. So Victor's got them all in what appears to be the library. The strongest one attacks him. He takes her down. He's about to kill her, and Montoya comes in and basically says, take me as the hostage instead. The mayor is chewing out Gordon again for all this shit that's going down. Montoya drops her gun and turns around, and Zsasz takes her as a hostage. Batman busts in, and they have their little confrontation. Batman looks fucking whipped here. Like, he is sick, he is tired, he is fully exhausted. We don't know exactly what's going on. Montoya manages to get out, shut off the lights, and Batman very easily takes out Victor Zsasz. He's about to kill him, but Montoya says, don't do it, and he realizes he almost went too far. Birdie watches and reports to Bane that Batman looks fucking defeated now. Okay, now we have Killer Croc. What's interesting about Killer Croc is that there was a confrontation with Bane in an earlier comic that's not in this omnibus, where Bane and Killer Croc fought, and Bane actually broke both of Killer Croc's arms. So Killer Croc is kind of wanting revenge. So he's in the sewers, as he's wont to do. He is basically eating rats and mice. And we get a little bit of his backstory of him in Arkham and his memories, kind of a thing. And then we hear him screaming Bane. So Bane and the crew are kind of at this warehouse. Robin has followed them because he's been tracking Birdie. Robin basically overhears some stuff and is trying to contact Batman, but Batman has basically passed out on this rooftop. Bullock confronts Zsasz, trying to get some information, and then the ventriloquist has broken into the apartment of a lawyer. Now, he wants to find out where Scarface is, and he believes this lawyer has the information that he needs, which is pretty hilarious. He's got the sock puppet and a gun. And then we get more of this former guard kind of promoting his book on television. Robin decides to follow Bane, but Bane realizes that he's been tracked. They're on top of a train, and he gets the drop on Robin and ends up capturing him. Batman and Bullock have a conversation. This is one of the rare times where Bullock actually believes in the Batman and is not treating him like a fucking common criminal, which I thought was really cool, especially with everything that's going on in Gotham at the moment. We have Robin tied up. He's in the sewers, and Bane is using him as a lure, so to speak. But then Killer Croc, who has a vendetta against Bane, sees what's going on. Robin's trying to fight Bane blindfolded, balancing on this beam. That just goes to show you the moxie that Tim Drake has. This is why I love Tim Drake so much. Like, he does shit like this all the fucking time. He manages to get his blindfold off by Killer Croc, and Bane discovers Killer Croc, and then they get into this fucking no-holds-barred punch-up while Robin is trying to free his hands, which he manages to do. But in the ensuing fight, the bridge beam that they are on collapses, and they all fall down into the drink, and then they get dragged down into the waterway tunnels. We now have Scarecrow and Joker on the cover of Knightfall issue 5. Robin is being washed away. He manages to get his staff out and block himself, and then get a rope around the metal bars, the metal railings, and pulls himself to safety while Killer Croc and Bane get flushed out into Gotham Harbor. Now we have this guy here, Cornelius Stirk. Cornelius Stirk is like your low-grade Scarecrow character. He uses fear as his main tool, and I believe as well, part of his thing is he eats the hearts of his victims, which is really gruesome. But Joker has teamed up with him for some nefarious purpose. At this point, Bruce Wayne gets a call from Chandra, who is his doctor, and Chandra is trying to get a hold of him because Bruce was sick and she needs to make sure he's doing okay. He keeps kind of pushing her off, and she realizes that she might start to have feelings for him. So this might be a love interest for Bruce Wayne at the time. The mayor is chewing out Commissioner Gordon again. We just get this all the way through. Batman, Bruce Wayne is in the Batcave with Tim Drake and Alfred, admonishing Tim Drake for taking the risk. Tim Drake is basically telling Batman, you've got to slow the fuck down. Like, you know, you're not doing any good either. Batman's like, I can't. And then he fucks off. And Tim is like, Alfred, what's going on? Alfred goes, he's just being a little baby boy. Just let the baby have his fucking bottle. Then we have Bane's crew again, kind of monitoring everything. You can see the implants in the back of Bane's head here. Batman, driving around trying to find some criminals. Then we have Scarecrow, Jonathan Crane with his fear gas. And he's kind of making people hallucinate and whatnot. Batman goes into this apartment where he finds a threat against Commissioner Gordon and the bat signal, and John Paul Valley and Tim Drake are like, we've got to be out there, we've got to patrol the streets. We have Commissioner Gordon talking to Batman, but it's not Batman. We discover that it is Cornelius Stirk, who kind of makes Commissioner Gordon hallucinate that he is Batman. Joker sees that Cornelius Stirk is about to cut his heart out, and Joker's like, you fucking idiot, we've got to capture him, we're not going to kill him. Batman arrives and foils the whole plot. The Joker, being the Joker, pissed off, just leaves Stirk to get his whooping and fucks off, but he's confronted by the Scarecrow. Now the Scarecrow says to the Joker, listen, I know what you're doing. Why did you use that hack when you could have used me? I'm the better fearmonger in this place. Sarah Essen, who is Commissioner Gordon's new wife, they're newly married. She's also a police officer, a lieutenant, I think. She finds Batman and Gordon on the rooftop of the Gotham City Police Department and basically tells Batman, fuck off and leave him alone. You're nothing but a bad influence on him. And Batman kind of considers this. Now, Scarecrow and Joker at this point have this plan to rule Gotham, and they do that by controlling the mayor. The Scarecrow thought controlling the police commissioner, big fucking whoop. Control the mayor and you control everything. So they break into the mayor's place, douse him with fear toxin. He's scared of snakes. And ultimately, they now have control of the mayor and they can make him do whatever they want. Okay, if you can hear a ticking in the background, that is my lunch cooking. Okay, we move into Knightfall issue 6. We have the Mayor, we have the Joker and Scarecrow, and they are forcing the Mayor to call various people. I believe this phone call was to the fire department or the fire department union, basically saying that they're not going to pay them or whatnot, so putting them on strike. That way, the idea is that the psychos can do whatever they want, and the police and the fire department and everything are not going to help Gotham City out at all. At this point, we come to Firefly. He's this serial arsonist, and he has set the pier on fire. Batman and Robin go there. Again, Batman tells Robin to stay out of it. This guy, I believe his name is like Garfield Lins. Kind of a small time, but very dangerous. Batman goes to confront him on the roller coaster and discovers that Firefly now has wings, which is a new thing that he never had before. The roller coaster collapses, and in the nick of time, Robin manages to get a lifeline to Batman, and they watch the pier burn. At this point, we have Ventriloquist with this lawyer, and the lawyer's like, listen, the only way we can get Scarface is probably in the evidence locker of the precinct where you were arrested, so we need paperwork and we need a police officer to go in there. And then he's got a police officer puppet. He's just a joke at this point, but I love the Ventriloquist so freaking much. He's just such a dumb character. Batman manages to find time to take a shower after the latest thing. He does task Robin with finding information on Firefly and to get that information to him. That way he can possibly anticipate where Firefly is going to strike. Robin makes up a lie for his father so he can get out of the house. His father's in a wheelchair. Sadly, his father is subsequently going to be murdered many, many, many years later by Captain Boomerang. So there's a little bit of tidbit for you. Spoiler alert. So he makes up a lie that he's going to stay at his friend's house, and then he tells his friend that he's going to stay with his girlfriend, and then he goes off hunting for information on Firefly. He kind of discovers that Firefly was an orphan. So he goes back to the orphanage where he meets an elderly nun that is sitting on a bench in the courtyard. They have a bit of a conversation. The nun reveals that he was a very troubled boy, especially when he's him and his sister. So Robin is like, okay, he's got a sister. That's a lead. And before he can ask more questions, she disappears. Was she ever there? We don't know. The douchebag is still talking about his book. We have the Riddler and his gang, and they set up this heist, but they want to do it. The gang is like, we're ready to go, boss. And the Riddler's like, no. You can't do it yet. It takes a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of charm to do it. So just cool your jets. We have the cops kind of have arrested someone. He's not talking. And then Harvey Bullock pistol whips him. And then this detective is like, dude, that's not how we fucking do things. The letter that Riddler has sent to the Gotham City Police Department goes unread. So whatever the Riddler was planning, he relied on them to get this riddle to know that it was him that was committing the crime. But Sarah Essen says, listen, we're going off and we're doing something else, and it goes unread. Firefly's sister says he hasn't been here. I haven't seen him. But ultimately, the pier was one of the places where, and this is actually quite tragic, when Garfield and his sister were in the orphanage, couples would come and they would say, we're going to take you to these fun places, the pier, the zoo, the theatre. But when they looked at his background history and how he was a little bit kind of mental, no one wanted to adopt them. So Robin, who had given an anonymous call to the police about the sister and is listening in on the conversation, kind of realizes these are some of the places that he might hit, gets the information to Batman. Batman at this point is fighting this guy. This guy's like a Z-lister, some douchebag with a rapier who thinks he's like Zorro or something, some fencing guy. And Batman takes him out easily. At this point, Firefly has gone to the theater and is basically burning it to the ground. He confronts Batman on the rooftop, and as Batman he goes to escape, Batman grabs him, but the weight is too much for Firefly's costume, and they both start to fall into the theater. Okay, just took a, pardon me, really short break for lunch. Homemade nachos, cannot beat them. Cheers, using some old beef mince we had with spaghetti bolognese and some cheese sauce I made last night for a fettuccine dinner. So let's move straight on to Knightfall number 7. This time we're going to get a Poison Ivy appearance. So Batman and Firefly are falling through the roof of this theater. Batman lets Firefly go so the thermal heat can lift him up. Firefly is kind of mocking him. You're going to die by saving my life. But in actual fact, he manages to, pardon me, get a rope around Firefly's leg, and Firefly manages to carry him to safety, where he jumps off and lands on a fire escape. Then we see Jean-Paul Valley. He is not wearing his Azrael costume here. He doesn't feel that he's worthy of wearing it. Batman goes back to the mansion and pretty much just collapses. Now we see Poison Ivy with all of these guys who are kind of under her spell, filled with her toxins. And this is one of the Bruce Wayne gala benefits that Alfred is like, you've got to fucking attend this thing. It's really important that Bruce Wayne doesn't kind of appear to be ill or anything like that. We don't want people putting 2 and 2 together. Birdie is watching this gala because Bane is like, some psycho is going to show up, and then Batman's going to show up, and then we'll see what happens. Scarecrow and the Joker are still terrorizing the mayor, but you can see there's cracks starting to appear in this relationship. Bane sees Bruce Wayne talking to Chandra, I believe her name's Chandra Killsolving, and he realizes that Bruce Wayne is Batman. He would recognize that anywhere. Commissioner Gordon is still kind of catching shit. We see Leslie Tompkins up here, who's introducing, I believe this award is something for Chandra. And then she starts acting really weird as Poison Ivy turns up. And we see that Poison Ivy has grown Nightshade, her own special blend of Nightshade, which is affecting the minds of all of these people. We have the cops have now been led to an abandoned funhouse. This is a trick, a ploy by the Joker and Scarecrow but it's specifically designed to get them kind of out of the way. We can see here that John Paul Valley is beating up some kind of thugs. Batman manages to get his nose filters in before his mind is completely taken over by Poison Ivy, but we can see Lucius Fox isn't so lucky. So here is Poison Ivy's getting all the guys out of the benefit and taking them to her own, like, Neo Eden. So Bruce Wayne has gone along under the guise of the Batman. He confronts Poison Ivy before she's about to kiss this guy and kill him. And Poison Ivy gets her goons to basically attack him. Now, these guys are dead anyway. They're pretty much zombies, but Batman makes a point that he can't have any open wounds or anything like that. She's about to kiss Lucius Fox, but he throws the guy and knocks Lucius out of the way. The other guys attack Batman, but Batman kind of takes them down. Then he takes Poison Ivy down. And Bane kind of realizes what's going on and sees what's happening. The cops go in to rescue the mayor, but it explodes, and Joker and Scarecrow celebrate. Bane is kind of pissed off that some of these villains are getting close to taking down the Batman because the Batman is his. Okay, issue 8 starts with the Riddler. We can see the Riddler's got a broken arm for some reason. Don't know how that happened. But the Riddler's goons are like, fuck this. We want to do this job. We plan this job. We're doing this job. And they turn on the Riddler. And the Riddler barely manages to escape. And he's like, why didn't the cops get my riddles? Why didn't they pursue this? You know what? I need a bigger audience. Television. Television is the way to go. We have Alfred and Robin having their little one-on-one. Batman still going after Firefly, believes that he is headed next to the zoo, so he goes there. We have this douchebag on the TV again, going on about how the criminals are only insane because society's making them insane. This is supposed to be a kind of take on Sally Jesse Raphael, an old, for those of you that don't know, she had this kind of like Jerry Springer style talk show back in the day. And the Riddler crashes it. Robin kind of realizes this and is like, I've got to go. Alfred's like, just be careful. In the meantime, Batman finds Firefly at the zoo and they get into another fight. The Riddler at this point claims that he has a bomb on him with a detonator switch. The cops tell the television station, just keep him talking. We'll kind of work this out. They've got a sniper there ready to take him out, but if the sniper shoots him, his hand's going to come off the dead man switch and he's going to blow up the theater, and we can see Robin in the background sneaking in. The Riddler's goons have taken over a post office. This was the Riddler's big plan, to rob a post office. Okay. Batman and Firefly are fighting. Batman falls into a jaguar pit, but manages to subdue the creature and escape while taking Firefly down and leaving him hanging over a crocodile pit. Batman is none the worse for wear. Robin comes in, takes out Riddler and uses an epoxy glue to glue his hand to the dead man switch, so if he takes it out, the finger is still on the button. Bullock basically chastises Robin because he says that was a really risky move. It wasn't even dynamite anyway. The whole thing was a ruse just so the Riddler could get his riddles on the television, and they take the Riddler away. We now have a gang here, and I don't know if this is Huntress or Batgirl or someone, but she makes short work of them nonetheless. But Batman pretty much collapses after chasing and fighting with Firefly. Letting us move on to Knightfall number 9. Okay. He staggers away from the firefighters who are putting out the fire. Now we see the cracks really starting to appear between Scarecrow and the Joker. And the Scarecrow threatens to use some of the the fear toxin on Joker, although we all know how good that is going to go. Okay, now we are at the mayor's mansion. Because this is where they believe Scarecrow and the Joker are. Batman is already there looking for clues. The mayor has, of course, been freed here. Bullock tries to bust in, but Batman stops him in the nick of time because the place was rigged to explode. The Joker is now just causing absolute mayhem, smashing cars, blowing things up in the tunnel. He's got rocket launchers. He's got the mayor. I don't know who that other guy was, but he's got the mayor here, I believe. And they get the call to head down there because these two idiots are causing trouble. The tunnel basically is going to collapse. Batman tells Commissioner Gordon, Bullock, and Renee, I'll go in there and I will get him. So he gets in there and he finds the Joker and Scarecrow with the mayor. They're underground. Scarecrow hits him with some fear toxin. And then all he gets is these visions of the Joker beating Robin to death from the Jason Todd Robin from Batman Death in the Family. So he goes completely ballistic on Scarecrow, but he also manages to capture Joker as well and just beats the living snot out of him, screaming out Jason. Scarecrow recovers, fires a RPG, which collapses the river tunnel, and now Batman and the mayor have to escape this barrage of water. Moving into issue 10, where he manages to get the mayor to a ladder, but realizes there's only one way to escape. He tells the mayor, listen, there's a pipe down there. We've got to swim down and we've got to get it. He gives the mayor his oxygen breather. He runs out of oxygen. Ultimately, though, he does get the mayor to safety. And the mayor is now grateful. The mayor used to think that Batman was a psycho vigilante, but now he's grateful for it. They find the mayor on the beach. The mayor is praising Batman. At this point, we have Bane's crew. They are going to make Batman now run a gauntlet where he has to fight each one of them in turn. Ventriloquist goes to the police precinct, breaks in, and manages to find Scarface in the evidence locker. Batman first comes up against Trog, where Trog basically tries to defeat him, but ultimately does not succeed. He then comes up against Zombie, who is like a knife thrower, and he manages to take Zombie out. And then his next battle is with Birdie, but by this point he is so beyond exhaustion that he is pretty much broken. And he basically manages to take down Birdie, and he gets back to the Batcave and he's looking for Alfred. He goes upstairs. He's got his robe on because Alfred doesn't like him wearing the bat suit in the mansion itself. And he finds Alfred unconscious. And he finds Bane in the house. This is the point where Bane has driven him to the absolute lowest point. Now, this is Bane's plan all along, to break his mind, his spirit, and ultimately his body. Bane thinks he's the best, but he would only be the best, in my opinion, if he fought Batman at the peak of his physical prowess. That's not to say this isn't a fantastic story. It fucking is. I'm just saying Bane's taken the easy way out, in my opinion. Issue 11. Bruce realizes it's Bane. Bane basically explains his plan. I want to take Gotham. I want to break you. Bruce can't understand why all this needless killing. But you know what? Fuck it. He's Batman. He's putting on the cape and cowl. And he's going after Bane. And this fight is phenomenal. We get Bane just beating the living crap out of Batman. We get memories of all the times Batman's kind of faced these sorts of odds. And you can see even the bat signal is broken here. We get the riot, a little bit of backstory. Alfred is basically coming in search of Batman while Bane is just beating the shit out of him. Alfred goes off to get help. You can see the Two-Face's giant coin slams into him here. He throws him into the Batmobile. It's just an absolute bloodbath. Bruce has no hope of winning this fight. He throws him into Jason Todd's outfit. Jason Todd's mask. Alfred staggers to the estate where Tim Drake and his father live, which is on the Wayne kind of land, and he's like, "We need help. You've got to call someone. Call an ambulance. Bruce is in trouble." Batman tries to fight back. Ultimately, it doesn't work. We see all the kind of everything running through his mind here, like, what am I going to do? We see Bane just punching him, picking him up, lifting him over, and then snapping his back over his knee. One of the most iconic panels in comic book history. Absolutely love it. And if you really want to laugh, go and watch the Robot Chicken where Bane sneaks up behind him and keeps snapping his back. It's so funny. Look at that. Just breaking the bat in one panel. And then he just dumps him and leaves him there, blood pouring out of his mouth. Okay, we come to issue 12. This is the last issue I will be reviewing in this video. Rest assured, I will be going through and reviewing this entire storyline, so don't worry about that. I'm not going to leave it here. Bane takes Batman to the top of a building. He announces who he is and what he's done, and then he hurls Batman off. So not only has he broken Batman's back, but he throws him down. Batman's smacking off these things to land in a heap in front of a whole bunch of spectators. That panel alone is so disturbing. There's no dialogue. There's nothing. This woman's turned away. It's just so brutally disturbing. The cops come. They kind of call for backup. An ambulance comes and they manage to take Bruce away. They're taking him to, I believe, Mercy Hospital, but it never arrives there. And instead, the ambulance, we find Alfred and Robin in the ambulance, and it's being driven by John Paul Valley. Robin wants Alfred to get him to a hospital. Alfred says, no, we take him to the Batcave and we work this out. He used to be a field medic. He can maybe help or do something. We have the Joker and Scarecrow, who kind of realize that their shit has all gone fucked up. Scarecrow gasses the Joker, and the Joker's like, you dumb shit. Like, seriously? And then just beats the shit out of the Scarecrow and leaves him there. Bruce in the Batcave. Alfred stabilized him. At least he's breathing. But there's a drug that he needs to help with spinal injuries. And if he doesn't get it within the hour, Batman's probably going to die. Azrael and Robin go off in search of this drug. They go and ask Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon tells them that he'll do his best to get a hold of this drug. Meanwhile, we see the ventriloquist with Scarface and Socko sitting in this henchman's apartment. And Scarface and Socko are just having an argument. And they say, we're going to settle this with guns. And then ventriloquist basically kills himself. No idea why, but that's just weird. Gordon tells Renee and Harvey Bullock, listen, get this drug, leave it here, and someone will come and pick it up. So they get the drug. They don't know what exactly is going on. Robin and Azrael manage to snag the drug. They get back to the Batcave. Alfred puts the drug in the drip. And then the hardest part, he says, is the waiting. And they're just standing around Bruce's shattered body. We will pick up in the next video with Showcase 93, Two-Face. And this is Knightfall issue 13. But we are going to end this video here. This is a great story. And this is only volume 1. There are 3 more volumes. Each of them are this thick to go through. So, yeah, I sincerely hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you do not miss any videos. Also, don't forget to tell your friends about Plaguelands Media. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on TikTok. We have a Facebook Media TikTok page. If you want to see some amazing art by Mr. Ian Van Gammett, go and check out Plaguelands Media on TikTok. You will see some amazing pictures that he's been working on. But you know what? Most importantly, stay safe. Have a fantastic rest of your day. But please, please, please read a fucking book, people.